Hello everyone! With the announcement of Junkenstein's Laboratory, an LTM that copies Paladins, gives all Overwatch heroes 3 talents, I wanted to circle back to an idea I've had for a while now, which would be to give each Overwatch hero 3 talents pulled directly from Paladins. I had a few very loose guidelines in place when brainstorming these ideas. One is that the talent should somewhat fit with the character's playstyle, or somewhat match their abilities. 2 is that the talent should be in Paladins currently, so no firing line Malga. And 3 is that the talent shouldn't make the hero super overpowered. Needless to say, I think I failed on all 3 fronts. But regardless, let's get into it. Ana's first talent is Bulk Up. Using Nade on yourself heals you for a bonus 40 HP and grants you 30 overhealth for 5 seconds. This would be the option for the Ana who is dived constantly. The bonus healing and overhealth would aid massively in Ana's survivability. Ana's second talent is Catalyst. After hitting anti-nade on enemies, increase your damage against them by 40% for 4 seconds. This is the talent for offense Anas. A 40% damage boost would make the Biotic Rifle deal 98 damage, up from 70. This gives Ana the capability to 2-tap purple enemies. Ana's third talent is Predatory Instincts. Eliminations on sleeping targets reduce the ability's cooldown by 25%. This is the talent for coordinated play. If your team is capable of following up on your sleeps, you will be able to use the ability more often. Ashe's first talent is Unyielding Pressure. Enemies hit by dynamite take an additional 10% of their max health as damage over 1.5 seconds. This talent grants Ashe even more potency with her dynamite, and will particularly aid her against tanks. Ashe's second talent is Precision. Hitting an enemy with the Viper increases your damage by 7% against that target for 5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 5 times. This talent will allow Ashe to eventually chew through even the most durable of teams. A 35% damage boost is a bit higher than Mercy's damage boost, and we all remember how dangerous Ashe was with that. Ashe's last talent is Sacrifice. If Ashe drops below 20 health while Bob is active, she trades places with Bob, heals for 50% of her health, and Bob dies in her stead. This talent grants you a second life while Bob is active. If you are about to die, you can pop Bob to ensure your survival. Alternatively, you can play a lot more aggressively, so long as Bob is on the field. Baptiste's first talent is Mega Potion. Regenerative Burst now heals for double, and applies 25 overhealth to allies hit. This talent would massively boost Baptiste's already high sustain, and on top of that, would allow his team to be a tad more durable with the overhealth. If used below half health, this version of Regen Burst would instantly heal for 160. Baptiste's second talent is Temporal Divide. Greatly increase the AoE of Immortality Field, but its duration is decreased to 3.5 seconds, and its cooldown is increased by 4 seconds. This is the ultimate risk-reward talent for Baptiste. This talent would nearly quadruple the AoE of Immortality Field, at the cost of its uptime and cooldown. Use it wisely. Baptiste's third talent is Asymmetric Warfare. Regenerative Burst now damages enemies in range for 40 damage per second, and heals allies an additional 10 heals per second. This talent allows Baptiste to better play in the thick of it. With this talent, Regen Burst can be used aggressively to aid with damage. Alternatively, its defensive capabilities will be pushed beyond, with it now dealing damage to nearby opponents. Bastion's first talent is Combustible. Tactical Grenade now applies a knockback and deals a bonus 30 damage over 2 seconds. This talent grants Bastion access to some crowd control, which will aid in disruption. Bastion's second talent is Binary Void. Gain a second charge of Tactical Grenade, but increase its cooldown by 3 seconds. This talent grants Bastion another grenade, which can be used for more damage or more mobility. Bastion's last talent is Crack Shot. Gain perfect accuracy in Configuration Sentry, but your fire rate is reduced by 40%. This talent allows Bastion to maintain perfect accuracy in both forms of fire, at the cost of a lower fire rate and DPS potential, while in Sentry mode. Brigitte's first talent is Spirit's Chosen. Repair Pack now instantly heals a bonus 35 health. This talent will make Repair Pack burst heal for 60 health, which will make the ability feel quite snappy. Brigitte's second talent is Spirit's Domain. Your Rocket Flail can now hit allies to heal them for 40 health, and grant them a 20% move speed bonus for 2 seconds. This is the talent to pick if you want to change Brig into a more traditional Overwatch support by healing through your weapon. On top of healing, the talent will provide allies with a speed boost, so get crackin', soldier, or there will be disciplinary action. Brigitte's third talent is Eminence. Increase the damage of Whipshot by up to 50% based on distance, and reduce its cooldown by 1 second. This talent allows Brig to be more of a long-range threat. At max distance, Whipshot will deal 120 damage. Cassidy's first talent is Ensnare. Deal 20% bonus damage to targets slowed by Flashbang, and increase Flashbang's slow by 0.5 seconds. This is the talent to pick if you want to guarantee kills after a flash. A 20% damage boost puts the Peacekeeper's damage at 84. Cass's second talent is Unerring. Increase Flashbang's AoE by 50%, and it now homes to enemies. Pick this talent if you miss Cass's old mag grenade and want to be extra annoying. Cass's last talent is Death Hastens. Peacekeeper now fires once every 0.7 seconds, dealing 85 damage with less falloff. This talent allows Cassidy to be more of a threat at a distance, with slower but harder hitting shots. D.Va's first talent is Rocket Barrage. Increase the AoE of micro missiles by 66%. Pick this talent if you want to bombard the whole team with explosion damage. D.Va's second talent is Accelerant. Decrease self-destruct's timer by 40%. With this talent, the ultimate will go off in 1.8 seconds. Pick this talent to team wipe every time. D.Va's last talent is Leon's Shield. Defense Matrix now recharges at 120% effectiveness, and regens at a slower rate while active. Pick this talent if you wish to eat all projectiles in sight, and prevent the enemy from playing the game. Doomfist's first talent is Defiant Fist. Hits with hand cannon increase the damage of your next rocket punch by 20%, stacking up to 100%. Pick this talent if you want a one-shot on Doomfist again. Doomfist's second talent is Bounce House. Seismic Slam now knocks up opponents and deals 60 bonus damage. Pick this talent if you really want to make the enemies miserable. Oh, and you could set up with your team, I guess. Doomfist's last talent is Battering Ram. Reduce your damage taken by 75% while using Rocket Punch. This is the talent to pick if you wish to guarantee rocket punches each time. Once the enemy is in view, little can stop you. Echo's first talent is Measured Cadence. For every 4 ammo consumed, fire out a weaker copy of Sticky Bombs. This Sticky Bomb deals half damage and reduces Sticky Bomb's cooldown by 1.5 seconds. This is the talent for those who want extra damage on Echo, and even more bombs. Echo's second talent is Display of Force. When activating Duplicate, your target is rooted in place for 1.5 seconds. Pick this talent to add another layer of one-upping your opponent. Echo's last talent is Deep Roots. Sticky Bombs travel 35% slower, but now root enemies hit for 1 second. This is the talent to guarantee kills with each use of Sticky Bombs, as if they don't already do that. Genji's first talent is Cat Burglar. Your next 2 sets of shurikens deal 30% more damage after using Dash. With this talent, Genji becomes a lot more bursty after using Dash. Genji's second talent is Enveloping Shadows. Hitting at least one enemy with shurikens reduces your cooldowns by 10%. This talent has a 2-second internal timer. Pick this talent to guarantee maximum uptime with your abilities. Nini's last talent is Everywhere at Once. Set the cooldown of Swift Strike to 5 seconds. This cooldown cannot be reduced by any other means. Pick this talent if you want a lower base cooldown on Dash, at the cost of losing your Dash resets. Hanzo's first talent is Recurve. Reduce the charge time of Stormbow by 25%. This talent will overall aid in Hanzo's DPS potential. Hanzo's second talent is Booby Trap. Sonar Arrow now explodes when enemies come near it, dealing 60 damage and applying a knockback. Pick this talent to better cover your flanks, or to cause mass panic if landed in a group. Hanzo's third talent is Desert Silence. Reduce the cooldown of Sonar Arrow by 1 second. Hitting an enemy with Sonar Arrow now hacks and slows them by 15% for 2 seconds. Impeach on Sombra's ground with this talent. Iyari's first talent is Over the Moon. Increase your damage by 25% for 3 seconds after using Outburst. This talent allows Iyari opportunities for higher damage at the cost of her movement skill. Iyari's second talent is Lifelink. When either Iyari or her pylon heal a target other than each other, the other is healed at 50% effectiveness. This talent will grant Iyari extra self-sustain by allowing her to heal when her pylon heals another ally. Additionally, Iyari can now heal her pylon by healing an ally with Rifle. Iyari's last talent is Window of Opportunity. Outburst now knocks up opponents, and you deal 20% bonus damage against targets hit for 3 seconds. In a similar vein to Over the Moon, this talent allows Iyari access to bonus damage at the cost of her movement skill. The difference here is that Iyari has to hit her target to get that bonus. On top of that, the bonus damage is accompanied by a very disorienting knockup. Junker Queen's first talent is Undying. Gain 15% damage reduction when below half health. This talent allows Junker Queen to sustain in the front line a bit better due to the DR. Junker Queen's second talent is It's Got Some Heft. Decrease the swing speed of Carnage by 20%, but increase its base damage by 20%. Carnage now deals an additional 20% damage for each enemy hit during its attack. Pick this talent to clear the field every time you pull out your axe. If enemies are grouped in front of you, you will be dealing massive damage to them. This is combined with Queen's passive cooldown reduction based on axe hits. Queen's last talent is Tigron's Fury. Jagged Blade now explodes on reactivation, dealing 70 damage, but the initial throw deals 10 damage. With this talent, you sacrifice the pull, and some overall damage, but gain access to quick AoE damage. Also, it's really funny to think of Queen snapping someone to death. Junkrat's first talent is Scuttle. Reloading with Frag Launcher drops an explosive projectile, dealing 80 damage. This talent allows Rat to have no downtime on his damage, provided he's in close range. Junkrat's second talent is Spring Loaded. Concussion Mine now drops explosives where you land and take off from during the ability. True to his name, this talent allows Junkrat to litter the battlefield with additional explosives upon use of Concussion Mine. This rat is never caged. Junkrat's last talent is Haunted Ground. When Steel Trap is triggered, reactivate the ability to teleport to it and fear enemies nearby for 1.5 seconds instead of rooting them. A risky talent with much reward. Pick this talent to change the single root of the trap into an AoE fear. Juno's first talent is Cherish. Pulsar torpedoes heal all nearby allies for 50% effectiveness. Pick this talent to gain access to some AoE healing for your team. Juno's second talent is Focusing Lens. Deal an additional 25 damage if you hit an enemy with all shots from Metablaster. This talent gives the gun a little kick at the end, allowing Juno more lethality in a 1v1. Juno's last talent is Persistence, which grants her 30% lifesteal. Team not have your back? No worries. Sustain yourself with this talent by dealing damage. Kiriko's first talent is Omnipresence. Swift Step can now be used an additional time while active, and you can now teleport to enemies. This talent allows Kiriko to teleport 2 times per use of Swift Step, greatly boosting her mobility and survivability. Kiriko's second talent is Forsake. Healing Ofuda now heal over 0.5 seconds, but their cooldown is increased to 3 seconds. Pick this talent to heal your allies in a pinch. A bonus to the longer cooldown is you have more opportunities to use your kunai. Kiriko's last talent is I Ran Out of Ideas. I mean Deja Vu. Protection Suzu is now capable of rewinding multiple enemies. In Paladins, rewinding enemies sends them back 3 seconds in the past, akin to Tracer's Recall, while also placing them at their lowest HP during that time. Pick this talent to make Kiriko even more overpowered. Lifeweaver's first talent is Solar Blessing. Reactivate Life Grip to stop it in place. Allies standing inside are healed for 75 health a second. Pick this talent to change the utility of Life Grip and to heal bot it up even more. Lifeweaver's second talent is Formidable. Gain a second charge of Rejuvenating Dash, but up its cooldown by 3 seconds. While dashing, you are immune to crowd control. Pick this talent to channel your inner tank as you ignore the enemy's CC. A bonus perk is that you could heal even more due to both charges. Lifeweaver's last talent is Storm of Bullets. Increase Thorn Volley's attack speed by 60%, but decrease its damage by 25%. Overall, this is a DPS increase. Pick this talent to go extra aggressive with this flower. Lucio's first talent is the soon-to-be-released Wisps of Sylvanas. Allies in range of crossfade gain 10% bonus move speed and crowd control reduction. Pick this talent to always have a speed boost active, regardless of modes, as well as to aid your team against CC-heavy comps. Lucio's second talent is Life Exchange. Soundwave now heals allies for 50 HP, but no longer deals damage to opponents. Pick this talent if you want to change Lucio from a fun support into another heal bot. Lucio's last talent is Crush. Soundwave no longer knocks back opponents. Instead, it stuns them for 1 second. Pick this talent if you want to be Overwatch 1 Cassidy. Malga's first talent is Tribunal Upgrades. Gunny and Cha-Cha now have infused elemental effects. Gunny now builds up a freezing slow on enemies hit, while Cha-Cha builds up an electric explosive shot, dealing bonus damage in an AoE once detonated. Pick this talent to further Malga's damage potential. Malga's second talent is Mother's Grace. Gain 10% damage reduction and crowd control immunity, while Cardiac Overdrive is active. With this talent, Malga can really face the noise when Overdrive is active. Malga's last talent is Subservience. Generating overhealth on yourself now heals each of your living teammates for 1% of their max health. Pick this talent to encroach on your support's territory by healing allies. Mei's first talent is Snow Globe. Blizzard can now be used at 50% ult charge. Its damage is doubled, but its duration is reduced by 3 seconds. This talent allows Mei quick access to her ult, at the cost of uptime. Mei and her team will have to be quick when Blizzard is cast. Mei's second talent is Splitting Ice. Icicle shots chain to a nearby opponent, dealing 45 damage. This talent grants Mei some pseudo AoE damage, and will overall discourage 2v1s. Mei's last talent is Tremors. Gain a second charge of Ice Wall, and reduce its cooldown by 3 seconds, but you can no longer destroy your walls. Pick this talent if you wish to imprison people. Mercy's first talent is Rampant Blooming. Heal yourself and allies for a burst of 35, and an additional 20 over 2 seconds when you finish using Guardian Angel. This talent grants Mercy additional AoE healing upon using GA. Pick this talent when you're juggling between teammates. Mercy's second talent is Relentless Presence. Gain a second charge of Guardian Angel, but increase its cooldown by 2 seconds. This talent will allow Mercy to chain GAs together at the cost of its cooldown. Choose wisely. Mercy's last talent is Combat Medic. Caduceus Blaster also heals allies for 30, and its fire rate is increased by 15%. Pick this talent to bolster your self-defense, as well as to step on Juno's toes. With this talent, Mercy can heal from anywhere, provided she has the aim. Moira's first talent is Goddess's Blessing. Allies healed by Biotic Grasp gain 15% damage reduction. Pick this talent to ensure your team gets through heavy fire. Moira's second talent is Wormhole. Activating Fade now leaves a wormhole at your initial location. Reactivate the ability within 4 seconds to return to the wormhole. This talent allows Moira to play extra aggressive. Fade in, do your thing, and fade back. Or fade in, and if the odds don't look good, just fade back. Truly one of the most frustrating talents in Paladins. I imagine it would be just as so in Overwatch. Moira's last talent is Nothing Personal. Enemies below 65% health are revealed to you, and your ultimate charges 15% faster. This one is really for the DPS Moiras out there. Alternatively, you could coordinate with your team, and call out low targets behind walls. Orisa's first talent is Opportunity in Chaos. After firing for 2 seconds, your damage is increased by 10%. Pick this talent to turn off your brain and really cement yourself as a spray and pray. Orisa's second talent is Hurl. Remove the cooldown on Energy Javelin, but it no longer stuns and knocks back. In Paladins, the downside of this talent is that Harpoon doesn't apply anti-healing, so while you do gain access to long-range damage, you lose your critical anti-healing. In Overwatch, the downside is no stun. Orisa's last talent is Tempering. Augment your abilities, but increase their cooldowns by 25%. Energy Javelin will now deal an extra 25 damage and stun for longer. Javelin Spin will last an extra second, and Fortify's damage reduction will be upped to 65%. Pick this talent to maximize each of your cooldowns and cement your status as a raid boss. Make those abilities count. Pharah's first talent is Big Game. Hitting an enemy with Concussive Blast causes them to take an additional 8% of their max health as damage on hits with your rocket launcher for 4 seconds. Pick this talent to melt down even the most durable of tanks. Pharah's second talent is Royal Subjects. Gain a second charge of Concussive Blast, but its knockback strength is reduced by 40%. This talent allows Pharah more mobility via Conk, while giving her extra, albeit weaker, displacement options. Pharah's last talent is Worm Jets. Increase your movement speed by 50% while using hover. Make every hit scan's nightmare even worse by flying around faster. Ramatra's first talent is Show of Force. Enemies hit directly with Ravenous Vortex are hindered for 1.5 seconds. This talent allows Ram to deny enemies running away with the plethora of movement skills in Overwatch. Ram's second talent is Dragon Fangs. Nemesis form no longer has a timer. Instead, it drains your health at a rate of 50 per second. This talent allows Ram to stay in Nemesis form for much longer, at the cost of his HP. Ramatra's last talent is Maelstrom of Carnage. Ravenous Vortex is now cast on yourself, and its AoE is increased by 25%. This talent will allow Ram to seal the deal in close range. The Vortex moving with him will deny enemy escapes. This does come at the cost of using the Vortex at range. Reaper's first talent is Smolder. Heal for 15% of your health during Wraith form. This talent offers Reaper some extra self-sustain while repositioning. Reaper's second talent is Umbral Lance. Tighten the spread of Hellfire shotguns, but reduce their fire rate by 30%. This talent grants Reaper access to range damage at a cost of a slower fire rate. Reaper's last talent is the fittingly named Blood Reaper. Death Blossom now deals 125% of the target's max health as damage over its duration. Death Blossom also charges 15% faster. This talent will guarantee kills with each use of Death Blossom. Even the tankiest of tanks will fall, provided they don't get any healing. Reinhardt's first talent is Scorch. Increase the damage of Fire Strike by 35% and reduce its cooldown by 1 second. Each subsequent hit deals 20% bonus damage. Pick this talent if you know how to line them up. With this talent, Rein will have some real kick at far ranges. Reinhardt's second talent is Abyssal Breach. Enemies that pass through Barrier Field are revealed and take 10% bonus damage for 3 seconds. Also, increase the recharge rate of Barrier Field by 10%. This talent is made to punish those who walk past your shield. The bonus damage applies to you as well, so make sure to get smacking. Reinhardt's last talent is Unfinished Business. Heal for 70% of the damage you took during charge after the ability ends. This talent grants power to those reckless rides. With this, you are relatively free to charge into the backline to begin your assault. So long as you don't die during the ability, you will heal most of your health back. Roadhog's first talent is Realm Runner, formerly known as Toot. Upon using Take a Breather, drop a healing cloud that heals all allies for 15 health a second for 4 seconds. Pick this talent if you really wanted Roadhog's rework to be pulled from that very old 3-2-1 experimental. Hog's second talent is Murderous Intent. Increase your fire rate and move speed by 10% each time you hit an enemy taking damage from Pigpen. This effect stacks 3 times. This is the talent to pick if you wish to further guarantee kills with each trigger of Pigpen. Roadhog's last talent is Leviathan. Increase your max health by 50. Increase your ultimate charge rate by 25%. Upon activating Whole Hog, reset all of your cooldowns and move 15% faster while the ult is active. Pick this talent to be extra tanky on the field and to make your ultimate that much more potent. Sigma's first talent is Abyss Spike. Accretion can now be lodged in the environment. When an enemy gets near, it triggers an explosion dealing 100 damage. This detonation does not retract from any of Accretion's other effects. In the perfect scenario, Sigma can land the stun, get the damage, and the explosion all in one go. Talk about a one-shot combo. Sigma's second talent is Fortress Breaker. Increase experimental barrier's health by 500, but it moves 80% slower. This talent makes the barrier much more tanky, at the cost of its move speed. Use this if you plan on playing point. Sigma's last talent is Godslayer. Kinetic Grasp now always fires back a projectile, dealing 80 damage. This talent grants Sigma a new use of Grasp. On top of denying damage, Sigma can instantly retaliate with damage of his own. Sojourn's first talent is Burn Monster. Disruptor Shot now deals 30% bonus damage and applies a 60% reduced healing effect. Pick this talent to massively neuter healing. That is, if your target survives. Sojourn's second talent is Heroism. Gain immunity to crowd control and 50% damage reduction while Power Slide is active, but increase its cooldown to 12 seconds. Like Lifeweaver, pick this talent to shake off CC at the cost of a higher cooldown. Sojourn's last talent is Treacherous Ground. Increase the radius of Disruptor Shot by 50%. Enemies inside are now hindered. This is the talent to go if you hate enemy mobility. Soldier 76's first talent is Cardio. Heal for 30 health a second while sprinting. Every coward's favorite option. Soldier's second talent is Mercy Kill. Gain 3 charges of Helix Rocket, but lower its damage to 80. Pick this talent for a never-ending supply of missiles. Soldier's last talent is Burst Mode. Modify your rifle to a 3-round burst. Each shot deals 30 damage with a time of 0.4 seconds between bursts. Also, decrease your damage falloff. This talent grants Soldier a unique new weapon, while also allowing him better access at range. Take that, Pharah. Sombra's first talent is Debilitate. Increase the damage Virus does by 15%, and the rate at which it deals damage by 75%. This talent allows Virus's damage to come out nice and quick, granting Sombra a lower time to kill. Sombra's second talent is Direct Current. Double the range of Hack. This talent allows Sombra to never leave the comfort of her team when going for hacks. Sombra's last talent is Nocturnal. While standing still, the timer on stealth is paused. Cloak and do nothing Sombra. Symmetra's first talent is Blast Flower. Hitting an enemy with Energy Orb increases the damage they take from orbs by 15%. This effect stacks 4 times. This talent allows Symmetra to gain damage on her orbs by chaining them together, similarly to how her primary fire works. Symmetra's second talent is Stunning Visage. Placing a teleporter now stuns opponents in its path for 1 second. Enemies in between teleporters take 80 damage upon activation. This talent allows Symmetra some much needed burst when going for a flank. Alternatively, it gives her ultimate levels of CC. Symmetra's last talent is Resonance. When a sentry turret is destroyed, it explodes, dealing 50 damage in an AoE. Pick this talent to really stick it to those who destroy your turrets in close range. Raise a hand for the RYC. Symmetra's joke talent is Octopressor. Sentry turrets now target up to 5 enemies at once. Yeah, that's a talent in Paladins. Torbjorn's first talent is Fiery Disposition. Hits with Rivet Gun light the opponent on fire, dealing 2.6% of their max health as damage over 1.5 seconds. Additional hits refresh that duration. Embrace your rage with this talent by gaining access to bonus damage over time. Torbjorn's second talent is Pyromania. Rivet Gun attacks now explode in an AoE, but you deal 20% less damage. This talent grants Torb access to group damage at the cost of single target DPS. Torbjorn's last talent is Improvised. Your turret is now rigged to explode. If enemies get close, the turret will detonate, dealing 100 damage and revealing target's hit for 1 second. Tracer's first talent is Unstable Fissure. Using Recall also rewinds nearby opponents 3 seconds into the past. As previously mentioned, a rewind will leave opponents at their lowest health point during that time. A possible risk-reward situation with this talent. Tracer's second talent is Inner Strength. Reduce the cooldown of all your blinks by 60% upon using Recall. This talent guarantees you 1 blink when you exit Recall, allowing for more slippery play. Tracer's last talent is Aerial Assault. Gain a 4th charge of Blink. If you blink while standing still, you will instead move upwards. Use this talent to boost your already great mobility, or become a Pharah's worst nightmare. Venture's first talent is Earth Splitter. Increase your ultimate charge rate by 60%. Get expediting with this talent. Venture's second talent is Slugshot. Double the range of Smart Excavator and increase its damage by 10, but it no longer explodes. This talent allows Venture to play at a distance at the cost of lenient AoE shots. Venture's last talent is Reposition. Drill Dash now activates instantly, but its distance is reduced by 25%. This talent will make your Drill Dash extra snappy, and will be a sure way to confuse your opponents. Widowmaker's first talent is Steady Aim. Hitting a fully charged sniper shot causes your next sniper shot to deal 20% bonus damage. One of the most poorly designed talents in Paladins. I reckon it would be even more BS on Widow. Pick this talent if you hate people. Widowmaker's second talent is Smoke and Dagger. Venom Mine now triggers on allies, healing them for 75 health over 5 seconds, and granting them a 20% speed boost. Pick this talent so you can actually do something on Widow, besides missing all your shots. Widowmaker's last talent is Overcharged. Overcharge your grappling hook to now pull in non-tank enemies. Use this talent if you wish to act as a very frail Roadhog. Winston's first talent is Hell or High Water. Upon landing with Jump Pack, create a healing pool around you. While in the pool, you heal for 20 health a second over 3 seconds and consume no ammo. This talent allows Winston a very small buffer after going for a dive. Alternatively, you can heal your teammates a very small amount if you land on them. Winston's second talent is Maelstrom. Increase the DPS of Tesla Cannon to 75. The secondary fire on Tesla Cannon can now chain between 4 enemies. This talent is less of a talent from Paladins, and more so pulling from a base kit. This talent makes Winston way more lethal, via higher weapon damage and AoE damage on his secondary. Winston's last talent is Unnatural Persistence. Upon standing on a point or a payload, and for 1 second after leaving it, heal for up to 30 health per second. Easily one of the worst talents in Paladins due to anti-healing. Perhaps in Overwatch it would fare better. Pick this talent to bolster your presence on a point. Wrecking Ball's first talent is Everyone Dies. Upon hitting an enemy with Grappling Claw, reduce the cooldown of Pile Driver by 50%. Again, another one of the worst talents in Paladins that suddenly becomes usable in another game. With this talent, Hammond would have a much higher uptime on Slam, meaning more damage potential. Wrecking Ball's second talent is Flux Generator. Adaptive shields now generate 300 more shields, and grant CC immunity for its duration. This talent would remove the need to be near enemies for the shields. Alternatively, Hammond can mega boost his health and take a lot of abuse when in a group. Ball's last talent is Deafening Silence. Enemies hit by Pile Driver are hacked for 2.5 seconds.
Pick this to infringe on Sombra's territory, set up plays with your team, or guarantee escapes each time. Zarya's first talent is Thanks Grandpa. Increase the health of targeted bubbles by 25. Pick this talent to gain more energy and further defend bubbled allies. Zarya's second talent is Field Study. Increase your bubble target's damage by 10% while bubble is active. With this talent, your bubbled ally becomes even more frustrating to face. Zarya's third talent is Shrapnel. Increase the AoE of Particle Cannon's secondary fire by 40%. Pick this talent to become an AoE nuisance. Zenyatta's first talent is Dark Gifts. Allies healed by Harmony Orb are healed for an additional 10 health per second, and gain 20% cooldown reductions, 15% CC reductions, and 25% bonus reload speed. Pick this talent to mega buff your heal target. 20% cooldown reductions is insane in Paladins. I can only imagine it in Overwatch. Zen's second talent is Focus. Increase Harmony Orb's cooldown to 7 seconds, and set its duration to 4 seconds. But its effects are tripled. With this talent, Harmony Orb now heals for 90 health a second. Over the 4 seconds, that's 360 healing. Zenyatta's last talent is Spreading Influence. Gain a second charge of Harmony Orb, but each orb heals for 20% less. With this talent, you are capable of healing 2 targets for 24 health per second. Oh my Genos, I can't do that voice anymore. And that's if every Overwatch hero got talents from Paladins. I admit, the news of the Halloween LTM piqued my curiosity. I'm interested to see if we get any similar talents like these in Overwatch's official mode. Anyways, what do you guys think about Paladins' talents in Overwatch? Or just talents in general? Which ones do you think are overpowered, most of them, underpowered, fun, boring, etc.? Let me know down below. I'd also like to tell you all that my new channel, YellowNinja, is live. All my variety content will be moving there. If you enjoy some different, co-op focused games, be sure to check the channel out. It's much appreciated. Don't forget to clap that like button and laser down that sub button. Snatching the bell is also a great way to stay in the loop. As always, I'm YellowNinja, and peace.